we got Tommy G investigating the Epstein file cover up, boy. I saw he put this at the end of one of his videos, bruh, and all that shit. I knew I had to fucking check this shit out, boy. It's crazy, how Trump be saying all that shit, like he be thinking everyone is stupid, like on some real shit, boy. He just said, hey, I don't recall, crazy,
Jeffrey
boy.
Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein.
It's just very strange.
Yo, what happened to that Jimmy Kimmel shit, bruh? Is that his name? Oh, yeah, that's his name. I was about to say Joe Kimmel, bruh. I don't know why. But did he get his shit back, bruh? It's crazy that the government fucking told him to take the they basically got his show cancelled because he didn't even say that much, bruh.
For a lot of people,
didn't even say nothing, bruh.
That the list of clients that went to the island has not been made public.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it?
So if you're able to, you'll be...
Yeah,
Yo,
certainly
Tishy.
take a look at it. This is a Democrat hoax.
Yes, and this
Yeah,
shit,
I'd be
boy.
inclined to do the Epstein. I'd have no problem with it.
He is now calling it a Democratic hoax.
The Epstein saga is not a hoax.
Evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of
saying
either
there's a link
Mossad,
to it, boy.
Israeli intelligence, American intelligence.
But the bottom line is the records are getting out.
Oh.
President.
I don't even know who this motherfucker was before all that shooting happened, bruh. Like, I would have lived my whole life not knowing who this motherfucker was if that shooting didn't happen.
Israeli
Apparently
intelligence,
this motherfucker was supposed to, he was gonna run for president or some shit, bruh.
American intelligence.
But the bottom line is
We never getting the old Kanye back, bruh.
Easy for people.
I feel like that fucking nitrous shit he was doing, that shit fucks up your brain from like 3 fucking hits of that shit. And that motherfucker was hooked on that. We never getting the old Kanye back, bruh. Plus he had all that like actual fucking medical disorders and shit, bipolar, ADD, all that shit, bruh. That shit probably even made it even worse, bruh, than nitrous shit, bruh. I feel like as sad it is to say, bruh, we never getting the old Kanye back, bruh.
the records are getting out.
The president says that a politicized hoax.
What the hell are they afraid of?
2 years ago, we talked about releasing the Epstein files. Last night, I was shocked to hear that you voted against releasing the Epstein files.
You got a lot of people that it could be mentioned in those files that don't deserve to be.
And you're really calling the women who were in tears talking about in junior high a hoax? How demeaning, how insulting.
In junior high?
In junior high, some about 13, 14 years old.
Wasn't Epstein married to a pedo as well, bruh? That's crazy.
I wanted to look into the Epstein file cover-up, but I didn't want to risk offending the president or doubting the FBI director's official narrative or making our politicians feel uncomfortable by...
Boy, if they got Jimmy Kimmel out there for saying nothing, bruh, they could get Tommy G out here, boy. I won't lie.
You know what? Fuck that. I'm not apologizing for anything. It's time to go gloves off. These people are lying to us, and I don't care whether it's Biden, Kamala, Trump. If you are...
This is why Tommy G the real G, boy. This is Tommy G the G, boy.
in charge of our country, and you're hiding, protecting a billionaire sex trafficking steal your ring, then we the people are...
Wait, can you not say that word? Oh, fuck. My shit, I'll get
coming after you and have every right to demand
bruh.
the answers. In fact, we pay each and every day with our paycheck to demand answers and accountability from you. And our president, Donald Trump, actually talked about the Epstein files. Here's what him and his administration said before they won the election.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to do the Epstein. I'd have no problem with it.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
It's pretty sick what that man did. 200 victims, well over 250 actually.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein?
What? That shit make Diddy look like... What the fuck?
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI. As a former #2 in the IC, they overclassify 50% of the stuff there to protect the deep state. Oh no, you can't see that. Nothing to see here.
And now that these people are in power, here's what they are.
What is the deep state, bruh? Like, I be hearing that shit. The only thing I know about the deep state is for Inside Job, bruh. That fucking show on Netflix, bruh.
Saying.
Look.
Yo, Netflix need to get their shit together. The fact that they cancelled that shit and they kept all this other bullshit on Netflix going, they renewed all of that shit, but they cancelled Inside Job. Yo, they need to, they need
The whole thing is a
need to
hoax.
get their shit
It's
together,
put out
bruh.
by the Democrats because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country. This is a Democrat hoax that never ends.
20 years ago, or whenever it was, 2006, 7, 8, Epstein gets his sweetheart plea deal, right? I wasn't in power there. I wasn't in place there. I had, nothing to do with it. But
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
I put out a poll on my YouTube
Who's this Indian motherfucker?
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
I put out a poll on my YouTube channel and 115,000 of you replied. And 96% of you said that the government is a bunch of filthy liars when it comes to the official narrative on the Epstein story. So me and my team boarded a plane and we flew to Washington, D.C. to launch a full-scale investigation. In doing so, we talked to United States senators, guys like Chuck Schumer, Ron Johnson and Rand Paul, as well as representatives like Nancy Mace, Hank Johnson, and the man that's leading the charge to push for transparency, Representative Ro Khanna. Furthermore, we joined forces with one of the top conspiracy theory experts on the internet, Mr. Ian Carroll, and we also spoke with a guy by the name of Mike Yeagley, a man who works with all of your favorite three-letter agencies and claims to have seen a version of the Epstein files himself. We get into this and much, much more.
Oh fuck, bruh. Tommy G came up from doing like fucking hood vlogs and shit to all of this shit, bruh. What the fuck? Motherfucker got connections on connections, bruh.
We are here in Washington, D.C., the beating heart of where it all goes down. And today we're looking into what might be the biggest cover-up in American history, the Epstein file list. The fact that the elites, the billionaires, the well-connected might be in a ring right before our eyes, and they are lying to our face about it.
This is a Democrat hoax. They're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant.
Wasn't this shit around before all of this? Like, I bet he didn't think it was a hoax back then, bruh. Like, before he did all this
The
presidency
success
shit.
that we've had as a nation since I've been president.
And I want you to suspend your tribalism for a moment.
I ain't gonna lie, bruh. Wasn't this motherfucker in jail, bruh? We, in South Africa, we also got a president that he got impeached, and then he fucking, then he got arrested and shit, bruh. And y'all America, except, like, you're doing the same shit that we doing, bruh, and we are fucked up country, I won't lie. It just shows, bruh.
I don't care if you're Democrat.
Y'all supposed to be America and shit, but all your presidents and shit moving like that, bruh. Like, y'all on the same level as us, as fucked up as us,
Republican
bruh.
or somewhere in between.
And we fucked
Now,
up.
this is about the truth. This isn't about one party or the other. I actually think they're probably both complicit in this. We're gonna get to the bottom of this because I think this is very important. So join me as we question and we do one of the most American things there is, which is to
What the fuck is that angle, bruh?
question authority, demand the truth,
Keep this shit over here, bruh. We don't need to see that lower angle,
get the
bruh.
knowledge out to the people, we the people, who fund all of this. Let's begin.
Why the fuck that jump scare me, bruh?
My name's Ian Carroll.
That's a fucking mustache, that's like an half, boy.
And I'm an independent journalist,
Motherfucker looks straight out of fucking Red Dead Redemption, boy.
researcher, content creator. And my slogan is follow the money, seek the truth. Jeffrey Epstein was an unqualified math teacher for the wealthiest of the wealthy, that then got recruited to be an unqualified banker, that then kind of failed out of banking during a scandal. And somewhere in there, he got hooked up with human traffickers and blackmailers and started what appears to be the world's largest
So this motherfucker made a living out of scamming hoes. He's a scammer. Simple.
known sexual blackmail trafficking ring.
One of the guys leading the charges of encouraging the government to release the files is Representative Ro Khanna from California. Ro Khanna, a Democratic congressman representing San Francisco, is co-leading the charge with Kentucky Republican Thomas Massie to force a release of the Epstein files. Seen on popular podcasts like Theo Von and Flagrant, he is a politician who is determined to be transparent. He's coming to the podcast like Theo Von and Flagrant. He is a
These hoes here, bruh. Sure, I hate them. I won't lie, bruh. They annoy the fuck out of me, bruh.
politician.
But I don't know. You never used to be like that, bruh. When I first saw clips of these motherfuckers, they were funny, bruh. And now everything I see is like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Who is
bruh?
determined to be transparent. He's coming to the Airbnb. Hey, good to meet you. How are you?
Good to meet you.
Thank you for coming through.
Good to meet you.
And he had this whole scheme where if you were rich and if you were powerful, you basically got away with assaulting girls. And then these rich and powerful men said, what are you going to do about it?
Proceeded to blackmail most of the most powerful people all around the world, which now is the story that's broken all over everyone's newspapers and Twitter feeds. And he took that blackmail ring straight into the White House and visited Bill Clinton 17 times in the White House with the likes of Robert Maxwell and Ehud Barak, directly linked to the Israeli government. And Leslie Wexner bankrolled Jeffrey Epstein. And that's not just a matter of speech.
L Brands and Victoria's Secret's owner. This the motherfucker who made Victoria's Secret. What the fuck? You talking about Queen Victoria, boy?
Signed over power of attorney to Jeffrey Epstein. So Jeffrey Epstein could have sold Victoria's Secret on behalf of Leslie Wexner.
I gotta say, I don't wear a suit often anymore, but I feel at least 10 IQ points higher right now. I feel good. I feel quite
You ain't never gonna catch me in a suit, boy.
patriotic today. Getting the chance to talk to our elected officials and demand accountability, to me, is something that makes me very proud
I ain't gonna lie, this shit clean though.
of being American.
Oh, I always wanted to see what's inside this shit. Crazy. I guess I have to wonder still, boy.
So we're here with Representative Nancy Mace, one of the people that is leading the charge to expose the Epstein files. Let's just start with the basics. Do you think Jeffrey Epstein killed himself?
Well, we don't have the camera evidence. Wasn't the angle of the camera, wasn't there?
I have no reason to believe that he didn't.
You don't think that there are suspicious details surrounding his death? The
I do.
Security cameras magically going off, the security guards falling asleep, being on suicide watch but still having access to...
Bro, do tattoos grow back, bro? I fucking cut my fucking hand here, bro.
material.
My shit, like,
I think there's just...
She's not, like, kind of like looking fucked up.
And I think we've got to keep getting the files out. But that may be something we never are able to figure out.
At least that shit's small though, bro.
This is Mike Yeagley. He's an independent contractor, data analyst, and security specialist who provides critical intelligence support to elite military units and to the three-letter agencies that everyone watching this is familiar with. In other words, Mike's skill set is that in real time, he can track the location of nearly anyone in the world using specialized methods, and three-letter agencies hire him for this reason. He says in his possession is a version of the Epstein files, and he speaks on his theories based on the information he's reviewed. School teacher without a degree that magically got...
So we gotta be grateful this motherfucker a good guy, bro. I hope he a good guy.
Worth hundreds of millions, if not...
Cause that's crazy, boy.
Billions of dollars.
It's kind of like congressmen that come to Washington with a net worth of $100,000 and 3 years later they've got $8.4 million net worth. When that happened?
Who is Ghislaine Maxwell?
The madam. She was the one female that could talk to an impressionable 15-year-old girl who wanted to be a model for The Limited.
Basically grooming these young girls and bringing them to Epstein. She was there recruiting.
Nah, she just as evil, boy.
For junior high and high school students for Epstein. She was part of the abuse. And for her to now get pardoned is a slap in the face of every survivor.
Do you think it's possible that that's going to happen?
This president is capable of anything. I also thought it was a slam dunk he would release the Epstein files. Something is there that's forcing him not to release it.
Ghislaine Maxwell is the daughter of Robert Maxwell.
Her dad was an interesting character. There's no doubt about that.
Now, Ghislaine Maxwell was Jeffrey Epstein's partner in crime that made this business work. And she has a very interesting background. She's pictured here with her father, Robert Maxwell, who happened to be a media mogul, a tech background. She's pictured here with her father, Robert Maxwell.
Who this motherfucker think he is, boy? What the fuck?
Who happened to be a media mogul, a textbook publisher, a known asset of Mossad, and he died under very suspicious circumstances.
He is very well known to have worked for Israel and Mossad through most of his life. Robert Maxwell was in publishing. He was a publisher, a power publisher, and his operation very much seems to be an influence operation focused around information and publishing, largely textbooks, the educational stuff that we all grew up reading.
So it's possible that the social studies book that I read in class in 5th grade, that Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, Jeffrey Epstein's father-in-law, in a way,
yeah,
had a hand in?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, you heard that right. Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, was a textbook mogul whose company, Macmillan Inc., made a joint venture with McGraw-Hill, and this partnership made them the second biggest publisher of American textbooks in the late 80s and early 90s. In fact, you may have used one of his books to study in your class at school. And while it is not official that he was working for Israel or Mossad, he was a British citizen that was given a lavish funeral in a historic Israeli cemetery that was reportedly attended by the Israeli president, top Israeli intelligence officials, and the eulogy was given by their prime minister, who said that Maxwell was almost a mythological figure. Yeah, it sounds like it. So it seems at least one thing Epstein and Maxwell had in common.
It's crazy, boy. All this shit be happening in the world, and I've never heard of any of this shit, bruh. Like, and if I didn't watch this video, I would have never heard of any of this shit, bruh. Shit crazy.
Was having frequent contact with Israeli prime ministers, but more on that later in this.
At the end of the day, free Palestine, boy. That's what I would say. That's what I say.
All kinds of crazy money, and then he just fell off his boat and died, and all the money went missing. No one ever found it. I've heard some interesting theories about how Epstein seems to have turned up with a very similar amount of money, basically that same year.
And what happened is there was a cover-up. Epstein got a slap on the wrist. There was no one who talked to the survivors. And a lot of other rich and powerful men who he farmed out underage girls to basically have not been held accountable. Thomas Massey and I, Republican, Democrat, have said release the file. And we called the survivors to the steps of the Capitol. For 10 years, no one had heard them. They started telling their stories. They broke down in tears.
But I wasn't the only one. None of us were.
Well, if a country can't stand up for survivors, we've lost our moral soul. If we can't protect children, we've lost our moral soul. This is not political, it's a moral issue. And we're gonna fight to get these files released.
A lot of independents like myself.
I know, like, there's a lot of problems in America. Be like, it'll be like, how do I say this? Americans make everything a political problem, right? Even when it's not, even when it has nothing to do with politics, it's either they make it a political problem or a race problem, right? So it's like a part of American culture that you do that, but I won't lie to you.
Cheered for Trump over Kamala because one of the things he campaigned on was releasing the Epstein files. He is now calling it a Democratic hoax. But then at the same time, he's the key contributor of an agent helping bring it down. Which one is it?
Recently, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson claimed,
He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down.
Then Mr. Mike Johnson changed his story to this.
If I use the right word, I said FBI informant. I'm not sure. I wasn't there. This isn't my lane.
So this guy, that's third in line of the presidency, isn't sure whether Trump is an FBI informant or not. And because the White House narrative on Epstein changes so fast, my question to Nancy Mace was, which story is it?
I hear, hey, this is a witch hunt with the media who've lied about him for years. So like, I get his frustration. They're trying to portray him as this horrible human being when he's actually not the bad guy. He's not the boogeyman in this. The boogeyman is dead. And his little black book, who knows where it is. And I do think there is a massive cover-up. I don't think Trump, he has nothing to do with it.
I read something that 1,000 FBI agents are working around the clock to redact his name in particular.
ABC News and other outlets reported in July of 2025 that Pam Bondi allegedly told Trump that his name was in the Epstein files. Then, Senator Dick Durbin made the allegation that the FBI was having agents work around the clock to cover for Trump. Now, if the claims of Senator Durbin are true, it is disturbing to learn what lengths this administration will go to cover this story up.
We don't have 1,000 agents we can dedicate to one thing like that. They're just
so possible nonsense story.
Physically impossible.
We know that Trump is in the files.
What makes you sure to say that?
Hank Johnson is a Democratic congressman from Georgia. Here was his take on the current state of the Epstein file cover-up.
Well, because he had 1,000 FBI agents combing through the records to remove his name. The Epstein saga is not a hoax. It's not fake. It is real. Thousands of victims, not just from the United States of America, but from across the world.
They're not buying the bullshit. Maybe 20 years ago when somebody could go on Meet the Press and the story was controlled in a news cycle that lasted for 20 minutes with Tim Russert, you could get away with that. I don't think you can get away with that anymore.
Now they're saying, what force is so powerful that even Donald Trump is not able to release these files?
I saw that for the petition to release the files, only 4 Republicans put their name on it.
4 courageous Republicans.
3 of them women, Lauren Boebert, MTG,
yeah.
Nancy Mace,
yeah.
and
Massey.
Where the hell are the rest of the Republicans on this?
The
How could you
oversight-
possibly
well, the-
vote against it?
Well, it hasn't come for a vote yet. So we just signed our names to it. Once it gets to 218, very soon, then it'll come to the floor for a vote.
Let's look more at the question of why Republicans are largely not voting to release the Epstein files. Well, first, let's consider that the Trump administration allegedly declared it to be a
because they motherfuckers don't want their president. They don't want their president to be out here as a I don't know if I can say the word now, bruh, because this motherfucker Tommy blurted it out. But I mean blurted it out. So Tommy knows best.
A hostile act if they voted for the release. Interesting. To the common man, it appears most Republicans are compromising their integrity because they are intimidated or afraid of Donald Trump, allegedly. And to me, the story of a party acting spineless to protect their leader instead of doing what they are supposed to do, which is represent us, their voting base, is similar to when the Democrats pretended that former President Joe Biden was not a dementia patient running for re-election. The bottom line is lying or covering for your party is cowardly, and we as Americans should be mad when either side does this.
Surprisingly, we're getting one of the top Democrats, probably the top Democrat, Chuck Schumer, to speak to us. Hey.
Tommy.
By the way, this is the original Gilbert Stewart of
So
George
this is
Washington.
cinematic
For the portrait of the dollar bill. Isn't that amazing?
This is a beautiful building to be in.
Isn't it? Yeah.
We tried to pass a resolution to prompt the release of the Epstein files.
Right, we did. They don't want to vote on it, but we found a good way to force them to vote on it today.
Boy, shave it all off. It just go bald, bruh.
They don't want to vote on it, but we found a...
Look at that shit, bruh. That's if your head was cut in half, bruh. It's past the halfway line, bruh. At that point, bruh, give it up. That's what I'm saying.
Good way to force them to vote on it today, and we did. And they're squirming because so many of them have said. Mitch McConnell has said release the Epstein files. John Thune has said release the Epstein files.
What is it?
McConnell has said release the Epstein files. John Thune has said release the Epstein files. Marsha Blackburn has said it. Tom Johnson has said it. They've all said it. Now they get a vote, and they vote to just keep concealing it.
Why?
What the hell are they afraid of? They're either covering up for Donald Trump, who we know is worried about these files because he's lied about it constantly. He's the one who made a campaign issue out of this. He said release the Epstein files.
Him, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi,
they
JD
all said
Vance,
it.
they all said
They're
it.
the ones who pushed to release the files, and frankly, a good number of people, even on the MAGA right, said release the files as well, because they thought, hey, maybe this shows that Donald Trump is part of the whole corrupt scheme that he claims to want to undo. No one believes Trump.
But he thinks everyone believes him, right? That's crazy.
So last night we met with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, and they forced a vote to try and release the Epstein files, and it failed. 51 to 49, the Republicans squashed it. We're gonna meet with our Wisconsin friend Ron Johnson, who voted against it. Ron, we have to have a very candid conversation here because 2 years ago,
you told me you wanted to release the file. Do you believe that there's anything fishy about the death of Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, certainly it's fishy. The cover-up of the list of individuals that visited Epstein Island
doesn't that seem crazy?
Is pretty fishy. I will say, I think this is true, is mainly people of the left that Jeffrey Epstein was courting and that took advantage of his island pleasures.
Don't you feel like anyone that's on that list should be looked into?
Well, I think we should have a full investigation of Jeffrey Epstein and his activities.
Does it feel like it's been kind of brushed under the rug?
Yes, because it has been.
We're gonna find more of that out in just a few minutes here.
I ain't gonna lie, bruh. I feel like one of the biggest problems in politics everywhere, bruh. You notice how all these motherfuckers being interviewed minimum 60, bruh. Ain't no one below that, bruh.
Now is the time for a few good men to come to the aid of their country. Hello. How are you? Good. I'm Tommy. I'm here for an interview with Mr. Johnson. And then look. I mean, who knows? This might be true, but otherwise this is the culture war is getting fanned with this. I wonder if a foreign country would like it if we were divided about that kind of stuff.
All right, well, let's get you in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey there. Mr. Johnson.
Tommy, how you doing?
Good to see you again, man.
Nice to see you.
How are you? 2 years ago, when we met, we talked about releasing the Epstein files. Last night, I was shocked to hear there was a resolution on the floor and it didn't pass. You voted against it, 49 to 51, against releasing the Epstein files.
Well, I understand. That was a poison pill in a process of trying to pass the National Defense Authorization Act. First of all, I'm as curious as anybody.
Morning. How are you? I'm Tommy. Nice to meet you guys. Where would you like us to set up?
I think y'all are going to be in the conference room.
Hey, an absolute honor. My name's Tommy. Nice to meet you.
I think one of the things that really annoys people is they think, well, maybe some rich people don't have the same justice. I'm just an ordinary person. I live in a middle-class home, but this really rich guy can do stuff, you know, that if I did, I'd go to jail. And I think that's the way I look at the Epstein thing. I don't have any facts about it. I'm not consumed by it. But at the same time, I think that there's a perception out there that wealthy people got away with stuff and that something's being hidden.
So you started out talking about Epstein. It's certainly not my priority, but let's start out, truthfully. Let's start out and talk about what happened yesterday. What happened to Charlie Kirk dwarfs, I mean, the Epstein file is dwarfed by the implications of what happened.
Senator Johnson, I agree with all of these points. I agree, but I do feel like we are derailing from the Epstein file. You had...
Again, we'll get to the Epstein.
I was about to say, bro, why the fuck Charlie Kirk got to do with the Epstein files, bro?
Files. I don't have that much to say about them because I don't know anything about them.
Then why did you vote against releasing it?
Because that was a charade.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I don't want to say it earlier. The difference between the office back then and now, bro.
Say about them because I don't know anything.
You're not saying money talks
about them.
Then why did you vote against releasing it?
Because that was a charade. That was a poison pill trying to derail the passage of the National Defense Authorization Act. The Epstein files will eventually get released, okay?
We followed up with a couple Senate offices to see if they knew what Ron Johnson meant by this poison pill theory he's talking about, and they were just as confused as we were. You spoke with some of those victims last week. What can you tell the American people what you learned in that meeting?
I was moved to tears.
Well, I think my face showed it all. I left the meeting early in tears. It was just really, I'm going through something that's very raw and very similar. I'm about just under 2 years into my own trauma. I want to say that these women are very, very brave.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah, sure.
So how does it feel to have your whole party turning against you, to have the president turning against you, to have all this political power coming to bear on you just for trying to hold accountable in our government?
Oh, I'm seeing younger motherfuckers now,
as long
bro.
as I've got
Minimum
people back
50.
home for me and the
age.
people out in the country for me, that's okay. I've never tried to make it my priority to worry about my friendships here. I think half the reason people are motivated to keep them secret is embarrassment.
We are looking at the most blatant cover-up. The dumbest lies are being used. Are you not sure that there's something fishy going on?
I think there's something very fishy going on. And then you had one of the victims that died recently. Virginia
Giuffre. According to Trump's own words, Virginia Giuffre appears to be a key part of why he and Epstein had a falling out, and we'll cover this more in detail later in the episode.
I'm happy to try and extract those from the government. Yesterday's vote wasn't the time to do
this shit get deep, boy. What the fuck? Only halfway through
Wall
this
Street
shit.
Journal published what may or may not be a birthday card from Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein. They're known friends, known associates, many photos together, but Trump is suing them for $10 billion for defamation and other reasons. Is that a threat to freedom of speech to sue someone $10 billion for publishing something?
First of all, I think President Trump is involved in something like 3,000 lawsuits in business.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's what he does, you know.
For a guy who keeps talking about free speech, he's awfully sensitive when the speech he doesn't like.
What I've just read is that you know 3 forensic handwriting analysts say that is not Trump.
Well,
what the fuck was that?
Tracked down the survivors' lawyers, and we went to Epstein's estate and we said, okay, send us this birthday book. And lo and behold, the birthday book existed. They sent us the birthday book. And it turns out that there was Donald Trump's letter.
On the day we were in D.C. covering the story, the Wall Street Journal republished what they claimed was a birthday card from Donald Trump to Jeffrey Epstein. In response, Trump filed a $10 billion defamation lawsuit. Published what they claimed was a birthday card from Donald.
What the fuck? This is some love letter type shit, bro. What's happening here?
In response, Trump filed a $10 billion defamation lawsuit against the Journal, saying that it caused him, quote, overwhelming financial and reputational harm. And folks, this seems to be the Trump family playbook. If you print something they don't like, they might just hit you with a massive, almost impossibly big lawsuit. I mean, just recently, Melania Trump sued Hunter Biden for over $1 billion over a claim that Epstein introduced her to Donald Trump, allegedly. And it then occurred to me that Trump might sue me for this very episode. So I called my lawyer to get his take.
How you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
I'm now getting a little bit scared that I'm gonna get sued by the Trumps for an obscene amount of money.
Well, just honestly, it's been said, it's been alleged. We don't have, like much of this, we don't have factual support, but it's been, some have the opinion that. Just couch what you're saying.
And then what if I still do that and he still sues me?
Well, it'd be great for your career.
You don't think he'll win?
No.
So it's a nonsense lawsuit just to scare people?
Yep.
And would it get thrown out by most reasonable people?
Yeah, because he's a public figure. They're both public figures, so they'd have to show that you have actual malice toward him. Also, I just wouldn't be too afraid of this.
This brings us to the bigger issue of free speech. If publications and journalists are scared into silence or sued into bankruptcy, this sets a dangerous precedent for journalism in this country. And in fact, a week after these interviews were filmed, Trump has now also sued the New York Times for $15 billion, also for defamation. So before I comment more on this Epstein story, first a quick disclaimer. In case Donald Trump or his lawyers see this, I just want to make it absolutely
Why does nigga look like he fucking, held hostage or some shit, boy?
clear that his signature on the birthday card is totally fake and it's fake news. And so just to show you how fake it is, we're going to compare it to real signatures from Donald Trump. Here, you guys can see it for yourself.
I know, nah, this shit fire. I know what Tommy doing.
Now that we conclusively proved that it's not real, let's move on to another subject. Are they being blackmailed, threatened,
Well, that's
extorted?
the question. Who's controlling this? What are the powerful interests? Why is there such a reluctance to release it? It's like they're making it a bigger story every day that they don't release it.
Would he be acting in a way where he is acting?
It's hard to explain. From a technical perspective, I don't think there's anything that he needs to be.
Damn, that nigga always used to does that thing with his hands.
Technical information is available.
He's saying it's a nothing story and it's a hoax. Do you believe that?
I believe that there are Democrats that are using it as a wedge, as a political wedge, and they're trying to infer that he's a nefarious person. I do think that that is part of what he's describing when he says hoax. I don't think nobody thinks that these women are lying. Nobody does, absolutely nobody.
I think it's hard to look at this situation and say, yeah, Donald Trump has been very transparent and he's not trying to bury this. He's trying to say that when people ask him in a press conference, like, why are you even asking about this? How dare you? This is old news.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. Are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
Do you think these files should be released completely unredacted for all?
Yeah, no one believes you, buddy.
Disclosure of files, releasing all the names, everything that we would need to ensure that we redact for any child sexual abuse material or CCM underage kids.
Sure.
And that we would redact the names of victims. So that would be my only caveat to that. Yes, release it all. And for that, I'm on the bill. I've signed a discharge petition, and I will be voting for the bill when it comes to the floor of the House in a couple of weeks.
And we applaud you for that. Honestly, it's refreshing to see people going for transparency. So people are very happy that you're doing that. Let's talk facts about the relationship between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. He previously said, I don't know the guy.
Oh, come on. Yeah, he knew the guy.
Have you ever had a person?
Bruh, why would you say that shit when you know there's video footage of you together, bruh?
A relationship with Donald Trump.
Pictures, everything.
What do you mean by personal relationships? Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir. Why did they get the background like that, bruh?
Relationship with
Just
Donald
creepy
Trump.
next.
What do you mean by personal relationships? Have you socialized with him? Yes, sir. Yes? Yes, sir. Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18? Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
So there are 5 people.
You know when you do that, that don't make you like that shit make you look really guilty, bruh. Like that shit crazy.
At least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
So there are 5 people taking the 5th Amendment, like you see on the mob, right? You see the mob takes the 5th. If you're innocent, why are you taking the 5th Amendment?
I know I'm not friends with any professional sex traffickers or pedophiles. I think like when you're, yeah, this to me is suspicious of. You said you didn't know the guy. You're tired.
I mean, he's been photographed with him. I mean, they.
Yeah, we were tired during the Biden administration of lies. A lot of us, especially independents, were like, man, this is the time that the veil is actually going to get peeled back.
God damn, that motherfucker orange as shit, boy. He look like he got a mask on, except.
K files, the Epstein files. There's going to be transparency. A guy that was targeted by the justice system is now going to. And it seems like, to the average person watching this, that our very own president is part of it.
At least agree a birthday card, as gross as that is, has nothing to do with trafficking. I mean, there's no...
No, not at all, but he said he didn't know the guy. You knew the guy.
Aside from the numerous photos that they've had together, aside from the new reporting about the birthday book and the letters that he sent to him that's coming out.
Allegedly.
Aside from all of the statements from both of them that they were very close friends, aside from everyone that saw them hanging out together all through the 80s, aside from all that, yeah, we don't really know.
Why specifically did Trump and Epstein have a falling out, apparently?
Trump claims that Epstein took staff from his spa, took Virginia Giuffre and maybe others from his hotel.
And how old was Virginia at this time?
I believe that she was 16 at the time that she was taken from the spa. I don't know for sure. I know that she was 17 with Andrew. When you're talking about victims, like it feels like it matters extra to tell.
Prince Andrew, who is that?
Spa. I don't know for sure. I know that she was 17 with Andrew.
Is that the?
When you're talking about victims, like it feels like it matters extra to tell their story as truly as you can to what they said, because of everything they've gone through, and especially Virginia, who not only went through the recruitment, the grooming, the abuse for years, but also everything since, and the bravery to tell the story and to, in one way or another, give her life to the story and to the victims in general to expose this. We owe her a great deal. I can't imagine that 2 dudes as
Yo, the show on Netflix, Blood and Water, bruh, this is exactly the plotline to this thing, bruh. They just stole this fucking plotline, bruh.
close as Trump and Epstein were back then, that are into the evil things that Epstein was definitely into, and the questionable things that Donald Trump has openly talked about having been into. Such as pageantry, such as walking into the dressing rooms at his pageants while they are changing.
Donald Trump loves a beauty pageant, and by his own admission, he was no stranger backstage while owning parts of 3 different pageants for nearly 2 decades.
So they stayed there with no is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women, and so I sort of get away with things like that.
I find it hard to imagine that they're breaking up their whole friendship because one of them was trying to recruit employees from a spa. Who knows? Everyone has their own theories, but I suspect that Trump is implicated in the files in some ways. And that doesn't even necessarily mean that he committed a crime. Doesn't mean that he ever had sex with a minor. Doesn't mean they had him on camera doing anything. It could just mean that he did business deals alongside these people over the years.
Folks, when I hear about the mysterious and nefarious character of Jeffrey Epstein, it makes me wonder what he was like in person. In 2002, Trump said, quote, "He's a great guy." But Melinda Gates, who met him once, described her meeting with him like this.
He was abhorrent. He was evil personified. I had nightmares about it afterwards.
In fact, her husband Bill Gates' relationship with Epstein was so disturbing that it was a key reason she ended her marriage of 27 years to one of the world's richest men. And because Trump considered
I'm sorry, what?
With Epstein was so disturbing that it was a
personified. I had nightmares about it afterwards.
In fact, her husband Bill Gates' relationship with Epstein was so disturbing that it was a key reason she ended her marriage of 27 years to one of the world's richest men. And because Trump...
Boy, I thought Bill Gates was one of the good ones, except only be the don't. I won't lie, if you be donating money and shit, then that's like, I don't say nothing about you. It's just, you
considered Epstein to be a great guy and even invited him to a second wedding in 1993. I was curious what caused Trump to stop being pals with Epstein. Here's what Trump said about it.
But I said, if he's taking anybody from Mar-a-Lago, he's hiring.
Is that fucking Triple H, boy? What the fuck Triple H got to do with this?
Or whatever he's doing, I didn't like it.
If you don't go back to fucking WWE, saying fucking...
This guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then when I heard about it, I told him, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. He was fine, and then...
Don't you what? Seen what?
And when I heard about it, I told him, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. He was fine, and then not too long after that, he did it again, and I said, out of here.
Did one of those stolen, persons, does that include Virginia Giuffre?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa.
Another theory on Trump and Epstein's falling out speculates that it was a bidding war on a 60,000 square foot mansion that contributed towards the end of their friendship, allegedly.
So hypothetically, you could speculate on the Epstein files.
Hypothetically, I could say.
What type of rich nigga shit is that, bro? That is
that
beefing over a house, bro. Shut up.
One could name names. The names that everybody
can tell their age.
To know.
But from what you've seen, is President Trump implicated in the files?
I don't know. If there was something in there that was damning to him as a man, let alone candidate, I think that shit would have come out during the election, during the criminal trials, I think the Democrats would have gotten it out if there was something there.
Mike Yeagley brings up a point that a lot of Republicans have also said, which is why is it that much of the mainstream media and many of the Democrats seemingly refuse to cover Epstein and Trump's relationship until now? It doesn't make sense to me either. If the files are so damaging to Trump, why didn't the left unleash this on him during the election cycle, which surely would have been the strategic move? Or is it possible that the damage the Epstein files will cause is so great to both Democrats and Republicans that both sides are too scared for the files to truly come out? I'd love to hear your theory in the comments.
I try to avoid the Trump side of it because there is a whole rabbit hole to go down on Trump of his history with people like Roy Cohn, his history with Epstein, his history with these business deals and with these pageants and all these things. But ultimately, I care more about the Epstein files themselves because they're way bigger than Trump. It's not just Trump that's implicated. It's our entire government. It's our entire deep state apparatus.
Allegedly.
That's the thing about blackmail is you don't know who's controlled. You don't know who's compromised. We don't know how many strings are being pulled.
If you had to speculate, what kinds of people are on this list as far as the positions they hold, the power they have?
I think you would see high-profile media types, university presidents, CEOs beyond those that have already been called out, actors, rappers. You might see a religious figure here and there.
Do you think foreign intelligence operatives are involved in this?
I do.
Can you speak more about how this could be a honeypot operation?
I think a lot of Americans don't have a strong understanding of how blackmail works because it's not something that we deal with in our regular lives. And I think that a lot of Americans are starting to think about it more and understand it more. And most people arrive at the very surface level first and they think that's the whole story. You'd think it's like, oh, you get them on camera having sex with a minor and then you own them and they do everything you tell them to. And ultimately, that's not the only form of blackmail or honeypot that works. And ultimately, it's never that simple. Everyone does things in their life that they're ashamed of that they would rather be able to take back. But that blackmail that you have from your past baggage, it never goes away. And so as you achieve a position of power later in life, you bring all that baggage with you, for better and for worse.
Yo, this must be such a crazy way to live, bruh. Why the fuck you making all these enemies except for what?
And if anyone can find it and exploit it, then maybe you are about to work for them.
Do you think it's likely that Jeffrey Epstein was part of an intelligence agency and this was a honeypot operation to compromise people with blackmail?
I think that every option is on the table. I think it's an absolute possibility. I think, I've never seen a honeypot operation, but I've heard stories of honeypot operations in our country, other countries, that it's a thing that they do. Davos, for example, that there are stories of prostitutes that show up and all these things go on. You have to think to yourself, we're not that stupid or that gullible. Somebody's filming something somewhere and going to hold it over someone's head for some deal. I would be shocked if that is not correct.
Now, this is the infamous jet, the Lolita Express, and some of the most influential and powerful people in the world took this jet to places like his island, where they did unspeakable things with minors. And this was likely part of the whole blackmail operation. But let me draw your attention back to this. Now, how did Epstein get this jet? Well, he bought it from none other than our friend Leslie Wexner, the guy that owns Victoria's Secret. And not only did he buy the jet from him, but he also happened to be this billionaire's financial advisor, even though Jeffrey Epstein got fired from Wall Street. What qualifications did Epstein have to advise billionaires on their financial assets? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Who is Leslie Wexner?
Leslie Wexner is one of the wealthiest and most powerful Jewish Zionist philanthropists and business owners in the world. He's a multi-billionaire. He lives in Ohio. He's from Ohio. And he founded L Brands, which is best known for Victoria's Secret. It's also Bath & Body Works. It's also Hollister, Abercrombie & Fitch. It's a whole bunch of these brands. Leslie Wexner had Jeffrey Epstein managing basically his whole estate for over a decade. He later claimed that Jeffrey stole money from him and that he didn't know anything about what Jeffrey Epstein was up to because it's plausibly deniable because he had signed over power of attorney. So Jeffrey Epstein could have done anything and he would never have known. So it's awfully coincidental. And then it's also coincidental that his other giant company, Hollister, Abercrombie & Fitch, that was run by a pedophile too. He put in his guy, Mike Jeffries, when he bought Abercrombie & Fitch in, I believe,
what the fuck is happening
98
here,
or late 90s. He put in Mike Jeffries as his CEO to turn the company around. And Abercrombie bought Hollister. They started targeting more young people. They launched all the fashion catalogs for the young male model thing. And it turns out that CEO that he put in was running a giant male sexual pedophile ring. And he was flying these young male models to go and have crazy orgies with all sorts of messed up shit going on all around the world. And that guy just got popped last year. And they wrapped it up with the insanity defense because he has Alzheimer's and he can't remember. So it's just kind of weird that Leslie Wexner, who was the bankroll behind Jeffrey Epstein, had two different running two of his giant fashion brands in the modeling industry, and no one's ever asked him a single question. He's still a billionaire living in a mansion in Ohio, and he's completely free.
Do you see any overlap between the Epstein story and Israel?
I don't
know. Oh my god, bro, what the fuck? Yo.
No, because I don't know what the files are. So there's some people who have alleged that Mossad is involved or that there are a foreign intelligence involved. I don't know. What I do know from Bradley Edwards, the lawyer of the victims, is he says that there are foreign actors involved.
Now you might be wondering who some of the shadowy figures leaving Epstein's house masked up are. Well, that's none other than former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. What was he doing there?
We have recent email leaks from Ehud Barak that is his entire email inbox from almost a year's worth of time, and they communicated almost every day, often multiple times a day, direct contact about basically everything that they were doing. He also visited him frequently, and there's a whole year of time where Ehud Barak's known visits to Epstein were monthly on a schedule. Most people were visiting Epstein in what seemed like a leisure sense, but Ehud Barak was visiting him on a regular schedule, and he was also sneaking in and out of Epstein's mansion in disguise. Jeffrey Epstein referred not just Ehud Barak, but also Benjamin Netanyahu to JP Morgan. That's the current Prime Minister of Israel. Why is a random lone referring the current Prime Minister of Israel to JP Morgan?
Allegedly.
What the fuck is happening, bro?
That's
nah, there's some shady ass shit, boy.
Very well proven.
I'm scared of getting sued.
Yeah.
One theory we heard is that Trump's not in the files in a bad way, but the reason that he's protecting it is because the fallout could be so great that it could collapse governments, it could collapse things.
So and I've said this on 9/11 as well. It's the Jack Nicholson. That comment. Can you handle the truth?
You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
It's a legitimate responsibility of the leader to take a look at something and go, this is probably better kept hidden.
It's possible that what he is protecting.
How fucked up or shit does it that will fucking ruin governments and shit? What the fuck?
Or trying to avoid would be a crisis, considering hypothetically who is probably involved.
So you think no matter who this impacts, we should go after them?
Absolutely.
You and other Republicans, if top Republicans were named on the Epstein file, would you guys be willing to take care of them and to make sure that they are
I think
answered
regardless
to
of party, if you're a child rapist, you should see capital punishment. You should get the death penalty.
Americans can handle the truth. Americans deserve the truth from their government.
I think we will pass the House, which is a huge issue, with the MAGA House passing it, and I think there'll be a lot of momentum to pass it in the Senate. But then Donald Trump can veto it.
You think they're actually gonna, even if they have to do it, you think they're gonna release the whole thing, bro? They'll probably release like half of it, bro. I won't lie.
What are the implications if we don't release the Epstein files?
I'm surprised they didn't even destroy it yet.
Then John F. Kennedy was president, trusting America with 60%.
Is it actually like files and shit, bro? I don't fucking know, bro.
Today it's in the teens. People don't believe the government is working for them. People believe the rich and powerful don't have accountability. People believe that the whole thing is rigged. And they elected Trump partly to unrig it. And now they see 7 months in, he's part of the whole swamp. If we don't have the release, we're going to continue to erode trust in self-government.
The main thing about Epstein that everyone should know right now is that we don't need the files. The files are in many ways meaningless. Yes, it would be great to have our law enforcement agencies doing their job and investigating the case and looking for evidence to take down people that were involved, whether they were co-conspirators or whether they were clients, so to speak. We don't need them and we don't need those files because we already have in the public domain way more than enough to prosecute many people that were involved, to interview at least many more, and they're all just out there walking free.
Folks, one of the coolest things about being an American is by questioning the narrative, questioning our government, demanding truth, and not being afraid to speak out about anything. Part of American history, if you go all the way back to the Boston Tea Party, is questioning a government that we view to be tyrannical. And this government we're the ones petrified. Get ready, and I love this.
Alright. Shout out to Tommy G. Boy, I won't lie, this shit was, she was talking about a whole bunch of shit that I don't really care about, bro. I won't lie, but it makes sense for the whole video, bro. Shout out to Tommy G, the G boy.